You can't depend on motivation to always be there. So then what has to fill the place when motivation is void? Discipline. If there's no discipline, there's no movement. How many books have been written and not published? How many businesses have been created and not launched? How many
relationships ended, businesses ended before potentially they could have been fruit that was produced? Like when you're in your purpose, everything is fun, it's exciting. And when I'm working on the weekends, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I'm like, I get to do this.
You know, I have a lot of guilt with that because I love working on the weekends, love coming into the office. I get excited about it. And as a mother, I feel guilty about that.
So like you keep saying guilt, guilt, guilt. Where does that come from? Who gave that to you?
Welcome to Balanced Conversations. Today, we are talking about motivation, a little outside of the realm of our normal conversations, but there's a lot that is behind wellness and the wellness industry that pertains to motivation. What is motivation? At the end of the day, I think it starts with a desire. You have a desire to do something, and then for a lot of people, that's where it stops. So how many books have been written and not published? How many businesses have been created and not launched? How many relationships have been not had because...
Or not even the launch of them, the end of them. Relationships ended, businesses ended before potentially they could have been fruit that was, produced. So, you didn't have enough motivation to carry you through those hard times.
Well, the thing is, motivation is just the jump starter. Motivation is not it does not run all throughout. So you have to have motivation first, and then that just jump starts you. So it's, if you think of a car battery, you jump start it. Okay. Well, turning on the engine is the motivation. Then you press the gas and you drive. The pressing of the gas is the discipline. So you first motivation, then you have to have discipline. So you have to train yourself to do the things that you don't want to do, the things that nobody sees, where you could be lazy, you could not do it, but you choose to do it anyway. Motivation, it's to get you to start something, but that's a common misconception, is that people think that the motivation is supposed to be there the entire ride, and it's not. It's supposed to get you started, and then you have to have the discipline to be consistent and to continue and to persevere. And then, the next motivation will come when you go to level up, but it's not going to be continuous. And if you go into any project, any decision, anything that starts with motivation, and then you lose motivation, well, that's normal. You're going to lose motivation, but you have to continue working hard. You have to continue being consistent. You have to continue doing the hard things. And that's where a lot of people stop, is because they're like, oh, I'm not motivated anymore, so this must mean I don't care about it anymore, or I don't want it anymore, when that's not reality.
So what is motivation? Like, how do you actually define motivation? Because I do think that motivation, it can wax and wane, meaning, there can be times where my tank of motivation is less than at other times. But what is that to you? How do you define motivation?
It's a inner desire. I think it has to start with a desire. And then you want something so badly that you get excited about it. And that excitement is what gets you started. And that's what we call motivation.
And then you think it's discipline that then is driving it through all the way.
No.
Okay.
There's no way to get to the end goal just with motivation alone, because it's not dependable. You can't depend on motivation to always be there. So then what has to fill the place when motivation is void? Discipline. If there's no discipline and there's no motivation, there's no movement.
I agree. I do think, though, that motivation, and maybe this is just me as one of one, that it's always present. It's always present. Mm-hmm. It never goes away. It might be less at times than others, but maybe there's some kind of neurotransmitter balance or imbalance that is participating in my motivation, but it never goes away.
Well, I don't think that it's something that disappears. I think it's something that you tap into. I think that's what you're trying to say, is that you tap into it. So what drives you to tap into the motivation, to enact it, basically, ignite it? Well, I think what drives you is either fear, trauma, sadness, or example, mentorship.
Or the reward.
I think also future. Yeah, exactly. So like seeing yourself, like you have to actually envision yourself completing that task, running that business, having that family, whatever it is, right? And if you envision that, then I think that helps to carry the motivation, and then you can tap into it. But I think one of the reasons that people aren't more successful personally, professionally, in whatever aspect that they want to be more successful in is because they're banking on motivation to carry them through, and they haven't developed discipline. You have to develop the discipline. The discipline to wake up at 5 a.m, the discipline to do the 2 more, sit-ups, the discipline to eat the good food over the bad food, the discipline to complete the project, complete the task. And if you don't have discipline and you're only counting on motivation, then you're absolutely going to have waxing and waning. The discipline is what keeps you steady throughout the entire process until you get to the end. Because you do see that a lot. You see people that are, they'll go a couple months, especially in business, be super high performing, and then they'll say, oh, I just burnt out. I don't think that's really burnout. I think that it is not guarding your energy and time and efficiency well. But then I think it's also the motivation was there during the high performing time, and then they lose the motivation, and there's no discipline to take the place of the motivation to keep them at that high performing level. Therefore, they have their burnout periods, or maybe not even burnout, maybe just less productive periods because there's no discipline to carry them through.
I'm going to throw a wrinkle into it a little bit. So I was listening to Hermosi and Tony Robbins. Did you watch that podcast?
Yeah, I did.
I watched it.
I did too. I watched
talking to each other, and that was really, really interesting. It's crazy how powerful Tony Robbins is, and his ability to change the energy of people. He was saying that that once you find your purpose, like when you're in your purpose, everything that you do, because running a business and being a mother and wife and all these things, right? Like it takes a lot of you to do all these things. But when you're in your true purpose, everything is easy. It's fun. It's exciting. Like for me, when I go into the office and when I'm working on the weekends, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I'm like, I get to do this. I'm like excited about it.
I have a lot of guilt with that because I too love working and love working on the weekends, love coming into the office. I get excited about it. It feels like a relief almost. And as a mother, I feel guilty about that because I'm like, I should not be excited to go into the office or want to do that. It's almost like I try to trick myself into being like, no, I don't want to work. I want to. And I don't want to sound like I'm saying that I don't want to spend time with my daughter. That's not at all what I'm saying. I think it's something that a lot of high performers that are also moms struggle with, because when you're with your kid, you are fully with your kid. You can't do anything else. And you're playing Legos and teaching ABCs, and you're not using a lot of cognitive ability. And I love and thrive in the most challenging, complicated problems and strategies. That's what I love to do. And so going from an ABC puzzle to a insanely complicated strategic marketing or ops puzzle is tough sometimes because you have to turn off one to turn on the other. And I do feel guilt when I'm wanting to go to the office and wanting to work. And then when I'm with my daughter, I'll feel guilt that I'm not working. And so it's like you never, I guess my motivation there is how to balance, because it's always just guilt. If I'm working, then I love that. I feel guilty that I love that I want to stay late, that I want to work on the weekends. I feel like, what's wrong with me? I should want to be with my daughter. And I do, and I miss her when I'm not with her. And I feel guilty that I'm not with her. Then when I'm with my daughter, I feel guilty that I'm not working. I feel guilty that I'm not working and not just being super present with my daughter.
What drives that? So like you keep saying guilt, guilt, guilt. Where does that come from? Who gave that to you? Why is it present?
I think because anything I do, I want to be the absolute best at it. I want to master it. And I have a hard time accepting, okay, in order to be a 100% present mother and then a 100% high performer, then it means I'm not being that present mom when I'm being the performer, high performer, businesswoman, and vice versa. And so I'm not used to not being the highest performer and giving 1,000% to whatever I'm doing, and then something's being taken from something else that I'm not doing. Does that make sense?
Kind of, but you also, she goes to school, she has a father, she has, friends, other things that she can tap into while you're doing those things. So it's not like, you putting energy into other things should make you feel guilty. Or at least I don't know. I don't have a kid, but
yeah, it does though. It does when you're a mom. It does when you have a kid. And also you're on a totally different, like I said, it's not like putting energy into other things like socializing or something like that. You're having conversations with other adults. You're, using more cognitive function ability. When you're a mom, you're literally doing like ABCs, and you're doing, constant needs. She wants this snack, no this snack, no that snack. And then we need to go to the bathroom. Then we need to do this. Then we need to do that sort of thing. And so it's like running on a hamster wheel sometimes. But I think I have motivation to be the absolute best mother I can be. And I have motivation to run a, 8-figure business, hopefully soon. So with that, it's like, I don't know, it's just being pulled in both directions. And I don't want to do one 50% and one 50%. If I felt like that, then I don't think I would have guilt. I think it's because I want to be 100% plus in both roles in my life.
Replace that, and I will put my wife in that position. I don't feel guilt when I go away or when I'm working.
Yeah.
Why do you think I don't feel that way?
Well, I didn't just with my husband. I didn't feel guilt because I can talk to him. He can understand. I need to be working. I need to be doing this. He also has his life and what he's doing. And he doesn't need me or my attention as much. He understands more. So maybe it stems from there is no explaining to a 3-year-old that mommy's got to go to work. And also I love her and I want to hang out with her so much. And so when I'm hanging out with her and it's just the tiniest little things, like she has these magnetic blocks and she built this, like crazy architecture with these magnetic blocks all by herself. And, I was in the kitchen making something. She was in the living room and she came and got me and she was like, Mama, look. And I walked over there and I was like, whoa. I was so impressed. And it's like, I was so proud of her and I was so impressed by her. And so, yeah, every little thing and moment I spend with her, it makes it absolutely amazing. But because I love her so much and I want to be there and I want to spend so much time with her, yeah, I think then I feel guilty that I'm not working, but then it's driven by my love. It's so hard to explain. It's so complicated to explain. I think you just have to, yeah, have your own kid. And then also, like, I think it's a little different with a mom than a dad.
Think so?
I think so, because I can intuitively, like, before she wakes up at night, I know that she's going to wake up. I can feel that she's about to wake up. If she's having a bad day at school or something, I can feel like something just happened. It's not, I don't know exactly what, but it's like you're so connected to them. Maybe because I don't know. Maybe it's a mother's intuition.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of believe that. I think also women have a pretty good intuition too, just kind of overall, relatively speaking to men. But it's also maybe you want to have that. You know what I mean? Because there are mothers who don't have that. And I think that your attention is heavily focused on her. So of course you're going to have more of that frequency exchange, for lack of a better term.
You got to determine where's the motivation coming from, outside or inner. Now, the creative, that's inner motivation, because creativity, no one else can motivate you to be creative. Creativity is you. It's as unique as your, DNA, and it comes from within. So if the creative is motivated to paint or do whatever their medium is, then that's inner motivation. And actually, you might have to have even more motivation because it might be shut down a bit more from outside.
Well, I would say they're both inner, because if they're doing all those things without having to be told, it's inner. And it could be trying to please mom and dad, but yeah, that's external, but it's still internal. It's still there. It's like trying to please. So the motivation probably isn't truly, to be a doctor, but it's like to please. Mm-hmm. Okay. Which is still inner, I think.
So are they motivated? Like, okay, just the child that's going to be the doctor, are they motivated because they need something? So it's a motivation out of fear of not getting the love, or we have to determine that first. Or are they motivated because they are truly motivated by curiosity and learning, and, they really love science and that really is their passion, their purpose. So what motivates you? What motivates you the most in your life right now?
Thank you so much for asking that question. I'm internally motivated. Nothing motivates me besides, I don't know. I'm just like, it's intrinsically there.
To do what?
Anything that I decide. Doesn't matter.
So your motivation is need to perform at high level.
It doesn't even have to be high level. It could be, I'm motivated to be the best husband I possibly can be.
That's high level.
Is that high level?
Yeah, to be the best. So best of anything.
Yeah, but then it's like, what's best, right? Like, I guess that's all individualized too.
So I think that your motivation comes from the same place that mine does. I want to, whatever I do, I don't just want to do it well. I want to learn everything about it. I want to become the best at it. And then I want to be able to motivate, mentor other people to become the best at it. By example, and then direct mentorship too. But I think the motivation comes from the same place. We both have a desire to perform at a high level, to perform well and be the best at everything that we do. So the motivation naturally turns to discipline and easily turns to discipline. I don't think motivation can be created. I think discipline can. I think motivation has to be heard. What are you excited about? That's your motivation. Use it. And then follow it up with discipline.
Amen.
Amen, brother. So we hope that you are very motivated to hear your own motivation and to be disciplined. Have a balanced day.